Good day everyone. So based on our previous activity, which is the 4 picks 1 word game, we came up with the words evidence, defend, and argument. So at this point, we're going to discuss our topic, which is all about defending a stand on a particular issue. So class, are you the type of person who likes debating or arguing with friends? Kayo ba yung tipong gusto lagi lang nakikipagdebate, lagi nakikipag-argue not only with your friends but with your classmates or kahit with your parents? Or do you know someone who is like that? Whether you enjoy the challenge of getting into an argument or not, argumentation is part of our day-to-day living. Yes, that's right. We expect clashes of views and opinions because of our individual differences. Kahit nga sa mga simpleng pagkain lang, nagkakaroon na tayo ng mga arguments. So we encounter arguments whether oral and written all the time. And sometimes we are not aware of how much they influence us. So, this might be a good time for you to set back and reflect for a bit. Should I really believe these claims? Am I just allowing myself to be taken in? Should I take views and opinions that are contrary to my own? Am I going to stand on my own views and opinions? So, those are the questions na dapat nating masagot. We all use argumentation on a daily basis. Tama? So, araw-araw, nagkakaroon tayo, nakaka-encounter tayo ng arguments. Kahit sa bahay natin, simpleng ulam lang, nagkakaroon na tayo ng mga argumento. So, you probably already have some skills at crafting an argument to defend your stand. Don't you know that the more you improve your skills in this area, the better you'll be thinking critically, reasoning, making choices, and weighing evidences. So, we already have the natural inclination for argumentative skills. Natural na sa atin yun eh. Kapag there is an issue, nagkakaroon na kaagad tayo ng arguments. Nag-a-arise na kaagad yun. And think about how you talk to your parents. Paano ba kayo nakikipag-usap sa inyong mga magulang? Let's say, for example, you want them to buy you a new phone. So, ibig sabihin yan, or could be, pwede niyong sabihin na, bakit si ate, bakit si kuya, nung siya ay ganitong grade, ay nabigyan mo na ng cellphone, nabilhan nyo na ng cellphone. Or kaya naman, did you make them feel guilty kasi lahat ng mga friends mo, binilhan ng parents nila ng panibagong cellphone. So, did you look up also on the statistics ng mga teenagers na gumagamit na ng cellphone? So, these are all types of argumentation to take and defend a stand. And they exist in academic writing in similar forms. Now, let us learn how to present reasonable arguments supported by properly cited factual evidences to defend a stand on an issue. So, defending a stand on an issue by presenting reasonable arguments. In making the defense, you have to ensure that you are addressing all sides of the issue and presenting them in a manner that it is easy for your audience to understand. So, your job is actually to take one side of the argument and persuade your audience that you have well-founded knowledge of the topic being presented. And the following are the steps in presenting arguments to defend or support a stand on an issue. So, number 1 is make issue criteria. Keep in mind that you have to persuade others and make them believe in your claim. When shaping it, consider and ask yourself the following questions to ensure that you will be able to present strong arguments on the issues. Una, you can ask the question na, is it a real issue with genuine controversy and uncertainty? Another is, can I identify at least two distinctive positions? Or am I personally interested in advocating one of those positions? And another, last one is the scope of the issue narrow enough to be manageable? So, let's set a criteria in making our issue. Number 2 is to collect evidences from properly cited sources. So, before deciding on a stand to defend, you should do some research on the subject matter. Hindi pwedeng sasabak ka na lang kaagad sa debate nang wala kang baon. So, while you may already have an opinion on your topic and an idea about which side of the argument you want to take, you need to ensure that your position is well supported. Kailangan lagi siyang back up with evidences. So, listing the pro and con sides of the topic will help you examine your ability to support your counterclaims, along with a list of supporting evidence for both sides. So, you will find many different kinds of evidentiary resources. So, the list of most common are, for example, we have the surveys. Another is descriptive studies, case studies, academic journals, popular magazines, biographical information, quotes, or summaries of work from established authorities, statistics, interview of an authority or ordinary citizen, laboratory research, and textual analysis. So, again, it is important that you have collected evidences from galing sa properly cited sources. Again, number 1 is make issue criteria, and the second one is collect evidences from properly cited sources. The third one is make an appeal to your audience. So, to convince a particular person that your own views are sound, you have to consider the audience way of thinking. Kailangan ikino-consider din natin ang ating audience. Appealing to the audience is another important part of defending a stand on an issue. Kasi this will help you strengthen your position or claim. So, in academic arguments, logical appeals are the most common, however, depending on your topic. Ethical and emotional appeals may be used as well. Your claim or position may be supported through these three major types of appeals. So, under this number 3 are the three major types of appeals. So, what are those? So, the types of appeals are, the first one is logical appeals. This is the use of facts in order to support and defend a position. So, this means reasoning with your audience, providing them with facts and statistics, or making historical and literal analogies. It persuades the audience by targeting their thinking. So, our focus is the thinking of our audience. For example, more than 100 peer-reviewed studies have been conducted over the past decades, and none of them suggests that coconut milk is an effective treatment for hair loss. So, in this argument, the peer-reviewed studies are used as factual supports. Number 2, we have the emotional appeals. So, this is the use of the audience feelings for the subject of the paper, such as anger, pity, and aversion in order to persuade. It may also refer to the values that the reader may identify with, such as the importance of family ties, hospitality, and the bayanihan spirit. So, if the first one is focused on the thinking of the audience, the second one focuses on the feelings of your audience. Example, how can you say that the government shouldn't censor the internet? Think of the poor children who might be exposed to inappropriate content. This type of argument attempts to elicit a strong emotional response, since people will generally want to protect children and since no one wants to adopt a stance that will purportedly harm them. The last one is the ethical appeals. So this is the use of convincing an audience through the credibility of the persuader, be it a notable or experienced figure in the field or even a popular celebrity. So the example of this is, as a doctor, I am qualified to tell you that this course of treatment will likely generate the best results. So here, people tend to believe the opinions of doctors in the matter of medical treatments. The audience consider the argument because of the credibility of the speaker. So, those are the types of appeals. And in depending a stand on an issue, we need to make an appeal to our audience. And it could be a logical, emotional, or ethical appeals. Number 4 is we need to organize your viewpoints or arguments. In presenting arguments, you are typically asked to take a position on an issue or topic and explain and support your position with research from reliable and credible sources. So the arguments you are making should be clear within your thesis statement. You should have the several reasons or points of discussion that help you to support your argument. You will explain and support these reasons. So, as with all the academic writing, you'll need to cite any information that you use from a source. So, this is a sample outline that we can use in organizing our viewpoints or arguments. So we have the first one. Part 1 is the introduction. Part 2, the arguments. Part 3 is the counter-argument. And Part 4 is the conclusion. So in the introduction, we have introduce the topic, provide background of the topic, to explain why it is important, and assert the thesis. So your introduction has a dual purpose. It is to indicate both the topic and your approach to it, which is your thesis statement, and to arouse your reader's interest in what you have to say. One effective way of introducing a topic is to place it in context, to supply a kind of backdrop that will put it in perspective. So you should discuss the area into which your topic fits, and then gradually leads into your specific field of discussion regarding your thesis statement. The second one, or the second part, is your arguments. So you need to assert your claims, the points of your claims. So you can have 1, 2, or 3 points. And each point, you need to give your educated and informed opinion. So, provide support and proof using more than one source. Preferably, it must be 3. So, you have more than one overall points to your argument. Each argument should be supported with properly cited sources. The third part is the counter-argument. So, you can generate counter-arguments by asking yourself what someone who disagrees with you might say about each of the points you made or about your position as a whole. Once you have thought up some counter-arguments, consider how you will respond to them. Will you concede that your opponent has a point but explain why your audience should nonetheless accept your arguments? Or will you reject the argument or the counter-argument and explain why it is mistaken? Either way, you will want to leave your reader with a sense that your argument is stronger than opposing arguments. Be sure that your reply is consistent with your original argument. if considering a counter-argument changes your position, you will need to go back and revise your original argument accordingly. And the last part is the conclusion. So now you have known that when defending a stand on an issue, it is very important that you have to organize your arguments clearly. Then, you need to analyze the situation given and study how the writer defends his stand on an issue by presenting reasonable arguments and the given example. So, at this point, we have this situation. Technology is not good for children. So, the stand of the writer on that issue is opposition. The writer's claim is technology is good, but for children, for it allows our children to have an amount of knowledge at their fingertips. So, in your handout, you have the sample paper. So that was modified and adapted from the original paper of a student, which was retrieved from Writing Center. So let us examine the presentation of the arguments there. So if you're going to take a look, there are 5 paragraphs wherein, as you can see in the introduction, the writer begins with a hook. So the hook there is social media, apps, gaming, and television. Youths are flooded with opportunities to access information and entertainment, often at a touch of a fingertip. So that is the introduction, the beginning sentence of the writer. So from that sentence, the writer already hooked the attention of the reader. Then, overall topic of the technology. Next, it narrows to the benefits of technology used by adolescents. And then, as you observe on the last part of the first paragraph, the thesis statement begins with a specific topic, wherein the use of technology and screen time can be positive for children as it allows children to excel academically by experiencing the expanding definitions of classrooms and literacy as a whole, and improves low-performing developmental skills. So, the writer, after that, the writer states her argument or her position on the topic. The thesis ends with the reasons she feels, and the 2 reasons will be the 2 major points of the discussion within the paper. So we can see that on the second paragraph, television, textbooks, and computer games are just few technological mediums. So we can see on that paragraph that it focuses on the first point of discussion from the thesis statement. The writer indicates this with the use of topic sentences within her body paragraph development. And also, the writer integrates her research by citing an author to explain and support the claim. So, on the third paragraph, apps and digital play are not limited to academic and entertainment purposes. We can see there that the focus of that paragraph aligns with the first point of the discussion from the thesis statement. And the second sentence of the third sentence of the third paragraph shows that the writer supports her points by including evidence from other sources. So she properly cited the sources, as you can observe on your handout. And on the fourth paragraph, the writer included a paragraph that identifies a counter argument. So Just like as it is written, some scholars and researchers claim that there are negative impacts of technology on a child's developing mind. So that is the counter argument of the writer. And for the conclusion, the writer summarizes the main points made in the paper and explains the importance of the topic. So, at this stage, you should have several ideas on how to defend a stand on an issue by presenting reasonable arguments. Also, you have learned that using properly cited sources makes your claim stronger. And having been said, let us explore the next part of our lesson. So, that is all about defending an issue or defending a stand on an issue by presenting reasonable arguments. So, at this point, we're going to have a mini debate. And to do that, let us have a short group activity. So, that's all for today. Thank you so much.